Aw, snap.
Diesel, the new...
Hello everybody, welcome back. We are now on part 3 of going through some of the best Thomas the Train moments in the first 7 seasons. So now we're continuing on with a close shave for Duck.
The cars. We've broken away! We've broken away! Chase him! Bump him! Throw him off the rails! They yelled. Hurry, Duck, hurry, said the driver. They raced through Edward Station, but the cars were catching up. As fast as we can, then they'll catch us gradually. The driver was gaining control. Another clear mile and we'll do it. Oh, glory! Look at that! James was just pulling out on their line from the station ahead. Any minute, there could be a crash. It's up to you now, Duck, cried the driver. Duck put every ounce of weight and steam against the cars. It's too late, Duck groaned. He veered into a siding where a barber had set up shop. He was shaving a customer. The silly cars had knocked their conductor off his van and left him far behind after he had whistled the warning. But the cars didn't care. They were feeling very pleased with themselves. Beg pardon, sir, gasped Duck. Excuse my intrusion. No, I won't, said the barber. You've frightened my customers. I'll teach you, and he lathered Duck's face all over. Poor Duck. Thomas was helping to pull the cars away when Sir Topham had arrived. I do not like engines popping through my walls, fumed the barber. I appreciate your feelings, said Sir Topham Hatt, but you must know that this engine and his crew have prevented a serious accident. It was a very close shave. Oh, said the barber. Oh, excuse me. He filled a basin of water to wash Duck's face. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were being a brave engine. That's all right, sir. I didn't know that either. You were very brave indeed, said Sir Topham Hatt. I'm proud of you. Sir Topham Hatt watched the rescue operation. Then he had more news for Duck. And when you are properly washed and mended, you are coming home. Home, sir? Do you mean the yard? Of course. But, sir, they don't...
Now the next one we are moving on to is Brake Van.
Help me up the hill, please, panted James. These freight cars are playing tricks. We'll show them, said Douglas. Slowly but surely, the snorting engines forced the freight cars up the hill. But James was losing steam. I can't do it! I can't do it! Leave it to me, shouted Douglas. The conductor was anxious. Go steady! The van's breaking! The van was in pieces. No one had been hurt, and soon Edward came to clear the mess. Sir Topham Hatt was on board. I might have known it would be Douglas, he said. Douglas was grand, sir, said Edward. James had no steam left, but Douglas worked hard enough for 3. I heard him from my yard. 2 would have been enough, said Sir Topham Hatt. I want to be fair, Douglas, but I don't know.
Now the next clip I'll be showing is from Thomas Goes to Breakfast.
That'll make them jump. Thomas thought he was being clever, but really he was only moving because a careless cleaner had meddled with his controls. He soon found his mistake. He tried to wheeze, but he couldn't. He tried to stop, but he couldn't. He just kept rolling along. He didn't dare look at what was coming next. There was the station master's house. The station master was about to have breakfast. "Horrors!" cried Thomas, and shut his eyes. The house rocked, broken glass tinkled, plaster was everywhere. Thomas had collected a bush on his travels. He peered into the room through its leaves. He couldn't speak. The station master was furious. His wife picked up her plate. "You miserable engine," she scolded. "Just look what you've done to our breakfast. Now I shall have to cook some more." She banged the door. More plaster fell. This time it fell on Thomas. Thomas felt depressed. Workmen propped up the house with strong poles and laid rails through the garden. Then the Scottish twin engines Donald and Douglas arrived. "Dinna fash yourself, Thomas. We'll soon have you back on the rails," they laughed. Donald and Douglas, puffing hard, managed to haul Thomas back to safety. Bits of fencing, the bush, and a broken window frame festooned his front, which was badly twisted. The twins laughed and left him.
Now the next clip I'll be showing is
Daisy,
from
the diesel-
Percy's predicament.
Stop to pin down brakes. Beep, beep. "Brakes, conductor, please." But before he could check them, the freight car surged ahead. On, they cried. "Help, help," whistled Percy. The man on duty at the crossing rushed to warn traffic with his red flag, but was too late to switch Percy to the runaway siding. Frantically trying to grip the rails, Percy slid into the yard. "Beep, beep, look out!" The brake van was in smithereens. Percy's driver and fireman had jumped clear, but Percy was stranded. Next day, Sir Topham had arrived. Toby and Daisy had helped to clear the wreckage, but Percy remained on his perch of freight cars. "We must now..."
Now we'll be moving on to season 3, and these scenes will be narrated by Michael
It
Angelis.
was a cold...
And the first one will be from Trust Thomas.
Thomas the Tank Engine was feeling bright and kindly. "I'll help out if you're ill." Gordon and James sniggered quietly to each other. Some of James's trucks were coupled behind Thomas, and he steamed away to the quarry.
Bum, ba-da-dum, bing.
The trucks were still cross. "We couldn't pay James back for bumping us, so we'll play tricks on Thomas instead. One engine is as good as another." But Thomas didn't hear them. He collected all the stone from the quarry and then set off back to the junction.
Be-dum-bum-bum, bing-bum.
Danger lay ahead. "Now for our plan," giggled the trucks. "Go faster, go faster." "Slow down," called Thomas's driver and applied the brakes. Poor Thomas stood dazed and surprised in a muddy pond as a toad eyed him suspiciously. "But my buffers," muttered Thomas. "The day started so well, too." Doug pulled away the trucks, and Edward helped Thomas back to the junction. Suddenly, Thomas remembered about the missing tar. He told Edward all about it. One day, Edward would...
Now the next clip I'll be showing is from an episode called Escape.
Asked Douglas. A whisper came. Are you a Fat Controller's engine? I include it. Thank goodness. I'm Oliver, and I'm with my brake van told. We've run out of coal and have no more steam. But what are you doing? Escaping. From what? Scrap. Douglas shivered. Then he remembered Edward's story about saving Trevor. I'll be glad to help you, he said. It'll have to look as if you're ready for scrap, and I'm taking you away. The drivers and firemen agreed to help too. Everyone worked fast. Need time to turn around, panted Douglas. I'll run tender first. Come on. But before they could clear the station, they were stopped. Aha! Exclaimed the foreman. A Great Western engine and a brake van too. You can't take these. Ah, but they're all for us, said Douglas's driver. See for yourself. The foreman looked all over Oliver. Seems in order. Right, away, guard. That was a neat thing, puffed Douglas.
Oh, snap. Okay.
We've had worse, smiled Oliver, and they forged ahead. On
Now,
a clear day when the sky...
the next clip is from an episode called Oliver Owns Up.
have come to live here on the Fat Controller's Railway. The other engines all wanted to know about Oliver's adventures. Amazing, remarked Henry. Oliver, said James, has resource. And sagacity, put in Gordon. What does that mean? Whispered Percy. I think, replied Thomas, it's about being clever and wise. He is, finished Gordon, an example to us all. I'm sorry to say that Oliver became very puffed up in the smoke box. Henry says I'm amazing. He's right. He whistled as he swooshed along the trucks away. They were comfortable and didn't want to move. What right has he to poke his funnel in here? They grumbled. We want Duck, or Donald, or Douglas. Look sharp, puffed Oliver. That's not the way to speak, hissed the trucks. We'll pay him out. Oliver heard nothing. The trucks moved smoothly at first, then suddenly Oliver felt them push forward. His driver applied the brakes, but they were useless against the surging trucks. On, yelled the trucks. Oliver fought hard, but still they forced him on and on. At last the trucks grew tired. I'm winning, gasped Oliver. But it was too late. Oliver lay, bruised and bemused, bunkered down in the turntable well. Duck surveyed the damage. Hello, Oliver. Are you being a good, gracious engine? Beg pardon, of course, but we really don't like this sort of surprise. Donald and Douglas will miss their turntable until it is mended. That evening, Oliver was hauled.
So now I'll be continuing this on in part 4, which will be the final part.